Hey guys, I wanted to come on and do a lupus video today because it's been a while since I've made one, and I thought this would be an interesting topic to discuss. So I'm going to be talking about lupus and vaccines. So vaccines, I'm just going to say first off, I am, I'm just going to say first off, I am not an anti-vaxxer. I've always received vaccines from the time I was a kid up until adulthood. So I have nothing against vaccines whatsoever. But since having lupus, I have learned that there's certain vaccines that I can no longer have or take. I've also learned that there's studies being done that are starting to show a possibility of certain vaccines triggering lupus flares or other autoimmune diseases. So I thought it would be something interesting to talk about. So first off, I wanted to talk about the hepatitis B vaccine. This is a topic that I saw discussed in one of the lupus support groups that I'm in online. And I found it very interesting. Someone shared, I think it started because someone shared an article that was talking about the possibility that the hepatitis B vaccine was either like a trigger or a cause of autoimmune diseases such as lupus. And when this article was posted, people started sharing their stories, and I couldn't believe how many people were saying that their first autoimmune symptoms started after they got the third and final hepatitis B vaccine. And so I was like, geez, I'm curious, when was it that I received my final hepatitis B vaccine? So I went and pulled out my immunization card, and it showed that I got it in grade 9. I think I got the first dose in grade 8, or maybe like the first 2 doses were in grade 8 and the final dose was in grade 9. And lo and behold, when I read that, I was like, holy crap, because my first autoimmune symptoms started in grade 10. It was basically, I think it was like the fall of grade 10 that it started, and it started with my right knee. That still gives me problems to this day, my right knee. It started in my right knee with pain and swelling. I mean, my knee was so swollen I could barely bend it. I could barely walk. I couldn't take part in dance class, in music theater. I had to sit it out. Like, I could not move that knee. And then within a couple of months, it also started in my left knee. And next thing I know, both of my knees were so swollen and sore. And then that's when I was diagnosed with juvenile arthritis, which now looking back, I'm thinking may have been a misdiagnosis, and it was probably it was maybe the beginning of my lupus. I'm not really sure. But at that time, it was diagnosed as juvenile arthritis because I didn't have any other lupus symptoms. It was just the joint stuff, and they put me on naproxen, and it cleared up, and then I was able to come off the naproxen for many, many years, and I was totally fine. So I went into remission quite quickly and was okay, but it really started to make me think, like, could it have been caused by the hepatitis B vaccine? Like, I mean, we'll never know, but it seemed sort of suspicious. Now, the other thing it could have been, there's two possibilities, because I know that sometimes injuries can cause arthritis. And in May of when I was in grade 9, I was in the musical, our high school musical, Oliver. And during one of the scenes, when the scene ended, I had to quickly move from one side of the stage to the other for the next scene. And in doing so, I can't remember what I tripped on. I don't know if I tripped on a riser or someone's foot, but I tripped and I fell smack on my right knee. And it immediately had a goose egg. It turned black and blue. And I never went to the hospital or anything because I could still walk. So I figured like it wasn't broken or anything. I just banged it really hard and it took a while to heal, but it healed. But then, like I said, when I came back to school in grade 10, then I think it was maybe around December or something like that. Or maybe it was January, somewhere around there in the wintertime, that my knee started to like act up. And so it just makes me wonder. Then fast forward to now I have lupus, and of course being on immune suppressants, the doctor recommended I get the flu shot every year, and I was also to get the pneumonia vaccine, which I have to check because I might be due for that again, but I had that. So now I'm going to say there were some years that I skipped getting the flu shot. And I will be quite honest, I found that the years that I didn't get the flu shot, I was healthier than when I didn't get the flu shot. So I've heard a lot of people say that they get the flu shot and then that winter season they catch like every cold going around, every stomach bug going around. And the years that they don't get it, they don't catch these things. And I have personally found that to be true. The years that I got the flu shot, I caught everything going around. And I would get stomach bugs, strep throat, colds, everything. And the years that I didn't take it, I would maybe catch like a minor little cold or something like that, but it wouldn't last long and it wasn't as severe. So it's odd. And it makes me wonder if I'm having some sort of reaction to the flu shot. I don't really know. I didn't get it this past winter just because I wasn't really going anywhere. With the whole pandemic thing, like I was barely leaving the house. So I really felt like I was low risk anyway. And so I didn't even bother. I didn't even like, I don't know. I just didn't bother and I was fine. And like, this was the first winter in a while that like I literally had nothing. No stomach bugs, no colds, no strep throat. Now that could be because I was just at home and not really exposed to germs, but it's similar to the other years that I skipped it. And then there were some other years as well where like I kept putting off getting it and then like I ended up getting it in March instead of like usually I get it in October. And again, like that winter, I wasn't that sick. So again, it makes you wonder. And I've seen mixed things in my lupus support groups. There's actually been some rheumatologists that have said to their lupus patients to not get any vaccines whatsoever, because of the possibility of it like causing a flare. And then you have other rheumatologists that do recommend it. So it seems to be a mixed bag, and there doesn't seem to be a general cohesiveness or like definitive answer among rheumatologists, which is kind of annoying. That kind of tells me that there's not enough studies done on how vaccines interact with people that have autoimmune diseases. So with that said, this brings me around to some other vaccines. I'm going to get to the COVID one in a minute, but something else that I found out a couple of years ago when I was job hunting, I was interviewing with a family who wasn't sure if they were going to vaccinate their son. So of course, naturally, me being immune compromised, I was a little concerned and wondering if this is a job I should pursue or not. So I went to see my family doctor and I asked him about it. And he said, well, if you're up to date on your vaccines, then you're protected and you should be fine to take care of the kid, even if he doesn't have his vaccine. So I was like, okay. But he said, but you having so many autoimmune things and health conditions going on, we try to avoid, like he actually said this, my family physician, he's like, we want to try to avoid whatever vaccines we can because it may not be good with your health problems. So, so he suggested that I get antibody testing done to look at my immunity for these various viruses to see if I really needed to get a booster shot or not. So we did that, and it came back that I was still immune for everything except measles. And he said that unfortunately, I am not allowed to get the measles vaccine anymore. Can't do it. The main reason is it has to do with the medication that I'm on, which is called Myfortic. And Myfortic is a coated version, like a coated pill version of Cellcept. And so he said anyone on this medication, as well as paired with your autoimmune condition, it's a no-go for this vaccine because he said it's a live vaccine, I think he said, and live vaccines are definitely like 100% no for autoimmune patients because it can interact with the medication I was on, but it can also cause big problems with flare-ups and things like that. So he's like, nope. So I guess I will never be able to be vaccinated for the measles ever again. So with that said, let's bring it around to the COVID vaccine. I have not gotten it yet. I am extremely uneasy and nervous about the vaccine. I know that COVID is serious. I know that I'm at risk. Although I'm not like super worried about it for some reason. I was only a little worried at the beginning of the pandemic when things first shut down, but over time, like, I'm not paranoid about it. I'm not freaking out about it. I just take the precautions, which I've pretty much always taken precautions just because of my immune system. So it's kind of like nothing new to me. So I'm not really worried. And also right now with me not working, I'm home most of the time. most of the time Alex does the grocery shopping. I rarely ever go with him. If I leave the house, it's like to go for a walk around the block or around my neighborhood, and that's it. Occasionally I will go to the store with Alex, but for the most part, like, I'm here, I'm at home, not around people. I occasionally see my mom, but that's about it. So I am not in a rush to get the vaccine because, like, I'm just not doing risky things right now. So originally when I heard about the vaccines coming, I was nervous, and I was like, I'm going to wait because I wanted more information and more data, because people with autoimmune conditions and people who are taking the immune suppressant I'm taking were not included in the study. And so I was like, we have like no information on this. And while my respirologist and my rheumatologist recommended the vaccine, they also proceeded to say, because this was like going back in like January or February, so it was right when the vaccines first were coming out, and they were only available to like the elderly people, and it wasn't even available to me yet. They said that the only thing is they don't know how effective the vaccine is going to be for people on immune suppressants. So while they suggested it, they're like, at this time, we don't have enough data or information to know if it's actually going to be effective for you. So they're like, you may not get much protection from it, just to let you know. So I was like, okay. My rheumatologist said if I do get it, I am to stop taking my immune suppressant the day I get it, and for 7 days after, like following the vaccine. And the hopes is that because I'll be off the immune suppressant medication for a while, that I guess it would help my immune system kick in so that it would be more effective. Now, since then, there has been a whole study done on a large group of people that are on the immune suppressant medication that I'm on. And it has not showed good results. I first learned about the study because a girl I watch here on YouTube that has lupus, she was part of the study. After getting her first vaccine, she got the antibody testing done, and she was showing absolutely zero antibodies against the virus, meaning that first vaccine was pointless. Essentially, it did absolutely nothing to provide protection. She got the second vaccine, and it showed 7 antibodies, which is nothing. It's like basically nothing. It's not enough to give you proper protection. So then I went and Googled this study to look more into it. And sure enough, it was not good results. And it even said that. It said they were very disappointed with the results that they saw in this study, that people on this medication are not getting the proper benefit from the vaccine. And due to that, they were looking into the possibility of some other type of protection for people on this immune suppressant drug. And so what they're researching is, I guess what they've been using to treat COVID in some people is taking, I think it's like something like taking plasma from someone that has the antibodies and giving them that or something like that. So they're looking into that, and they're hoping that that could be a viable option for the people that are not responding, that won't be responding to the vaccine because of the medication they take. So that was kind of, and one of the things that they mentioned in the study is because of the results, it's imperative that if people that are taking this medication get the vaccine, that they need to get the proper dosing. So meaning they get their first vaccine and then 4 weeks later, they get the second dose. That was a big problem because here in Canada, our government is stupid. Stupid, stupid, stupid. They've shown how stupid they are throughout this entire pandemic. And they decided, hey, let's give everyone the first dose, and we'll say they can wait 4 months before getting the second dose. And I was like, hell no. I'm not doing that, knowing that the first shot is going to give me 0 antibodies. That means I'm going to go unprotected for 4 months anyway, so what is the point? So I waited, and I was like, hopefully, eventually, once they get enough people vaccinated with the first shot, then they'll be able to give the correct dosage, or maybe like they'll see this study and they'll change the rules for certain groups of people or something. So I was like, I'm just going to wait, and I'm going to hope that eventually the proper dosing will be available. Well, now the proper dosing is available, and so I did get a note from my doctor, because when Alex went to get his vaccine, he asked about it, and they told him that I could get the proper dosing if I had a doctor's note saying that, you know, I'm immune compromised and this and that. So I did get the note from my doctor a couple weeks ago, but I still haven't booked my appointment for the vaccine because I still have some nervousness around it, because I have read various things about it possibly affecting fertility. Now, from what I've read, most of that's been debunked, but at the same time that it's been debunked, the same scientists and doctors and whatever that talk about this particular debunking study, they also in the same sentence proceed to say, but we have no data on long-term effects. Like they said, people that were part of the study, they got pregnant during like the trials. So people, and also like now people got the vaccine and they got pregnant after the vaccine. And so they think it's not going to affect fertility, but at the same time they all proceed to say, but we don't have the data for the long-term effects on, like, just long-term side effects in general. There's no information and no data. So that makes me nervous. And Alex's stepmother, she got the first dose. She was nervous about getting the first dose as well, but she got it. And a few years ago, she had a concussion, and she had recovered from this concussion. And ever since she got the vaccine, all of her concussion symptoms have returned. So that kind of stuff makes me very nervous. She has not been well at all since she got the first shot. And so she's been delaying her second one because she doesn't know what's going on and she has to see her doctor. And she just feels horrible. And she actually works in the medical field. She works in a medical lab. And she has said that things that she's read about how this vaccine was developed and stuff, some of it doesn't sound right to her. From what she knows about manufacturing of vaccines, there's things about it that doesn't sound right to her. And She's concerned about autoimmune reactions herself. And she even is concerned about the long-term effects on fertility and things like that. It's already been shown that, like, in some people, they've gotten the vaccine and it's thrown their, like, menstrual cycles out of whack. So that's kind of unnerving. There's just so much, because it's such a new type of vaccine that's never been used before. And it was just, they don't have the data for long-term stuff. And that's making me very nervous. And the thing is that my lupus, it's taken years for me to get it under control. And it's been quiet now for almost 2 years. Like, it's not showing in my blood work that I'm in a flare. Like, my doctor's like, things are quiet. And I don't, like, I'm so scared of putting something in my body that's new, that's different, and having a big flare. Like, I've come so far to get to this point of having my lupus pretty well under control. Like, I still get some joint pain from time to time, but for the most part, like, the main thing I'm dealing with right now is the jaw pain and the fatigue. Like, the fatigue is always a struggle, but other than that, like, I feel so much better, and I am so scared to have a flare again, and basically, like, all of that goes down the drain. Because I'm not, like, I know I'm getting up there in age. I'm going to be 40 in December, but I'm not ready to throw in the towel on the possibility of having a baby. And so because of, like, this whole thing with they don't know how it's going to affect fertility and stuff, kind of freaks me out a little bit. And also, like, my rheumatologist has told me that the way things have been going right now, because of my lupus being so quiet, that if I did want to try to have a baby, that I have a good chance of it being, like, going well and being successful because of how under control my lupus is right now. And that, like, if I want to do it, now would be, like, a good time to do it, just because of how well things are under control. And I also, like, tested negative for these antibodies that can cause miscarriage, blood clots. It can cause a heart problem to the baby, or it can cause neonatal lupus. I don't have any of the antibodies that can cause those things. So he's like, even the risk to the baby would be minimal if this is something I want to do. So the option is there, and I mean, I haven't, like, decided anything, but I'm just so afraid of doing this, like, getting this vaccine and then having a huge flare, and then all of that just goes down the toilet, basically, and I'm back at square one. Like, I don't want that. So I've been doing a lot of, like, research, and I've been doing a lot of talking to other people in my lupus group to see, you know, and I mean, there's been tons and tons of discussions in my lupus support group about the vaccine. Like, people saying, how many people in this group have gotten it? How many are not getting it? What did your doctor tell you? And the thing that's concerning is that the answers are so all over the place. There has been many rheumatologists that said, get the vaccine. And there's been a whole bunch of rheumatologists that have told their patient not to get it. That they're like, don't get it right now. Wait for more data to be available. They're like, we're not comfortable recommending it to you. And then, like I said, then there's the opposite where there's other rheumatologists saying get it. And so there's people in the group that say they're never going to get it, or they're waiting for more information, or there was one lady that said she's waiting for the Novavax, and I hadn't heard of the Novavax, so I went and Googled it, and I'm going to be honest, I actually liked what I read about it, and I have no idea when it's going to be available. It's only in phase 1 trials right now, but the phase 1 trials of it are showing way better results than the phase 3 trials of all the other vaccines that have come out. It's showing a better efficacy rate, and it's also showing that it's effective against like 90 different variants, which the other vaccines, they don't know yet if they're effective against variants. So this Novavax sounds really promising, and I don't know if it's a 1-dose or a 2-dose thing, but what I liked about it is that it uses the same technology that all of our other vaccines use. So it's the same kind of formula, ingredient kind of thing, and so they said like they're really hoping that they can get it moving along and get it out. They're really hoping that by the fall it'll be out, and that it'll help people feel more comfortable getting the vaccine. And to be quite honest, like I would much rather get something that, you know, because I've received other vaccines in the formula, you know, that we usually have. And like I said, those have, I guess, been okay, but I mean, I don't know. But yeah, I'm just not comfortable with this new mRNA kind of thing. I don't know. It makes me uneasy. So the responses in the lupus group. So people that have got the vaccine in the group, I would say the majority of them said that they were okay. They didn't flare. In fact, there was a small group, a very small group, but there was a small group of people that said that their lupus symptoms improved after getting the vaccine, which is kind of weird. But most people didn't seem to get a reaction, or if they did, it was like the typical side effects that people are getting, like the fatigue, headache, fever, that kind of stuff. My mom had a bad reaction to the second vaccine. Like she was like for 24 hours, she was like in bed with a fever and everything. And she got Pfizer, I believe. But then there were some lupus patients that flared. They did have a flare-up. One lady that I talked to about it, she said her flare lasted about a month. Another person, their flare lasted about 6 weeks. They both had to go on a course of prednisone, which I freaking hate prednisone, guys. Like, I want to avoid going back on prednisone because that stuff makes you gain weight, it makes you moody, it makes your face puff out, and like I freaking hate. I have a love-hate thing with prednisone because prednisone works so fantastic for my joint pain. Like after the first or second dose, my joint pain is like, I'm feeling great. I'm like, I can do anything. I get a bit of energy, but then I also get like mood swings. And I get acne, more acne than I usually get. And I get like bloated and my face gets all puffy and swollen. And like, I just, ugh. No thanks. So yeah. So I mean, after talking to people in the support group, I do feel a little more comfortable, and I may just make that appointment to get it because, again, we don't know when this Novavax will be available. But I'm still just kind of like waiting to find out more information. And I want to talk to my doctor again, because another thing that's not been cohesive amongst rheumatologists is when they say to get the COVID vaccine, for the people that are on the medication that I'm taking, it's all over the place on what to do. There's been some doctors that have said, don't stop taking the immune suppressant drug. There's been doctors that have done what my doctor said and said to stop it for a week. There's been other doctors that have said, stop it the week before you get the shot, and also don't take it the week you get the shot. There's been other doctors that have said, don't take it for an entire month. So again, that's all over the board because they're just guessing. The doctors are just guessing because they didn't include us in the study or in the trials. So they have no data on how to get the vaccine to be effective in those that are on these immune suppressant drugs, which is annoying. It's frustrating because it's like, I want to get, if I'm going to put this new substance in my body that could potentially cause me to have a flare, I want it to be effective. I want it to be worth it. Like, I want the benefit to be worth the risk. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know I don't want to get COVID, but I also don't want to flare. And I don't, there's not enough data. Like, there's the study that's been done, like I said, that the medication I'm on makes the vaccine barely effective, if effective at all. But of course, like, stopping your immune suppressants could maybe help with that. But again, there's no cohesiveness amongst doctors because they're all telling you different things when it comes to your medication. They're like, you either stop it or you don't stop it, or you stop it for a week, you stop it for 2 weeks, you stop it for 4 weeks. Like, there's no cohesiveness. Like, there's no definitive way or answer on like how long to stop your immune suppressants. So now that this study's been done, I'm just curious if my doctor would suggest stopping the medication for more than a week. Like, I want to talk to him again before I decide to make an appointment for the vaccine, because I want to know how I can help it to be as effective as possible. Because otherwise, like, what is the point? Like, if it's going to make 0 antibodies against COVID, then it's like not getting the shot at all anyway. So why would I want to put this chemical in my body and risk getting a flare if it's not even going to protect me from the virus anyway? Do you know what I'm saying, guys? Like, I don't know. So that's kind of where I am right now. I will definitely keep you guys updated if I decide to get the vaccine, and I'll say how it goes and everything like that. But if you have an autoimmune disease, or if you're on Myfortic or Cellcept, if you're a lupus patient and you got the vaccine, share your experience in the comments below. What did your doctor tell you in regards to your immune suppressant drugs? Did your rheumatologist recommend the vaccine? Did they not recommend it? I want to hear all the different experiences in the comments below, because I want to make the best informed decision that I can for my health. And this is why I also have an issue with the fact that the government is saying, oh no, the vaccines aren't mandatory. You don't, like, we're not forcing you to get them. It's your choice. But in reality, I feel like it's being forced. For one thing, I've had pressure from family members, like, bugging the crap out of both Alex and I, like, when are you getting the vaccine? Are you getting the vaccine? Why aren't you getting it? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm so sick of hearing about it. Like, this is my health. This is my body, my choice. I need to do what I feel is best for me. And I don't think anyone should be forced. I don't care, like, how serious the virus is. I don't believe anyone should be forced to put a substance into their body that they don't have a ton of data on. That's just how I feel. I don't think it's right, but I feel like I am going to be forced to get it in a way, because I've already noticed when looking at nanny job postings, which I'm going to have to find a new nanny job soon, because my EI runs out in October, so I need to find a new nanny job soon. Most of the job ads I have found are wanting a nanny that's vaccinated from COVID. So I feel like we're going to start to notice a lot of jobs saying you must be vaccinated, or you could, like, lose your job or not get the job. And to me, that's just wrong. I'm sorry. Like, I just don't agree with that. I just don't think it's right, especially when it comes to people like me that have autoimmune conditions or suppressed immune systems, and we don't have enough information on how the vaccine works for us. Like, there should be a medical exemption until they know for sure how to proceed with it, what protocol to follow. Like, should you stop your medication? Should you not? And if you should stop it, how long to stop it? Like, there should be, like, a straight across the board answer on that. Like, not just doctors guessing and essentially pulling it out of their ass as to how to proceed with it. Because again, what's the point of getting a vaccine if it's not going to be effective? So there needs to be more research done there, and there needs to be, like, a more definitive thing. So that's how I feel about it. I don't like that. I feel like it is going to essentially be forced, even though they say it's not going to be forced. Like I said, there's jobs that are already doing it. You have to have it to fly. You probably are going to need it to go to concerts, and, like, so eventually it's going to be like, well, you're going to be forced to get it, because otherwise you're not going to be able to live your life. So it's really stupid, in my opinion, because for people with certain conditions, I don't think it should be forced upon them until they know more information. So anyways, I'm going to end this video now. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And like I said, if you're a lupus patient or an autoimmune patient, share your experiences. What has your doctor recommended? What have you done? How was your experience if you got the vaccine? Or if you're not getting it, what's your reasons? Just, I want all the different viewpoints, because I really want to learn and try and make the best decision. But anyways, I'm going to sign off for now, and I will keep you guys updated. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.